Someone on YouTube asked this question about Bitcoin and selling a house for it. And so the comment was, or the question was, I'm trying to get 10 million sats or 0.1 of a Bitcoin. I'm thinking of selling my home and renting it. It's owned outright, worth about 1 Bitcoin. Would love your opinion on it. So here's the thing for me. There's probably a lot of people, especially the ages of like 60 and above, who are in this exact same position. They have their main asset, their house. They got a good retirement fund, but they have 0 Bitcoin for the most part. Most baby boomers probably have 0 Bitcoin. We have some outliers, of course, like Letha. Like I don't want to dox anybody's age here, but there's a couple in the chat here, baby boomers, and I have a lot of respect for them for doing that. They're going to be the ones who really push this adoption forward here. Baby boomers, they have the wealth, they have the ability to move some of that capital from that legacy system, retirement funds, real estate, into Bitcoin. They're going to be the catalyst to this whole thing. And the other part of that too is like within, I don't know, I think our life cycle is going to increase significantly as technology improves here. But let's just say that the average age is 100. So baby boomers, they got, I don't know, let's say 30 years left, maybe 40, maybe more, hopefully more. But at that point, like when you think about all the assets that the baby boomers have right now, and it's going to pass on to their children eventually, all of that is going to eventually flow into Bitcoin pretty much at that moment. Because when you have somebody who's like 30, 40, 50 inheriting this stuff, they're not going to be buying bonds. They're not going to be buying gold, silver, maybe a new home. But a lot of that is going to flow into Bitcoin. So it's kind of the baby boomers here who have the ability to kind of push this thing forward faster if they understand what's happening here. So the thing I would say that is there's probably a better way to do it. I would not recommend selling your house to buy Bitcoin and renting, unless it's something that you want to do. Like if you're not attached to your house, if it's like if you're planning on moving somewhere, or if you're not completely satisfied with the neighborhood you're in, something like that. But if you're in a house that you've lived in for a long time and you have plans of staying there for the future, for your, to pass on to your kids or whatever, depending on where you live. But I wouldn't sell your house. I don't think that that's an advisable idea. But first of all, I very much appreciate the motives here, right? Because I'm guessing that this is somebody who, if they own their house, they're probably a baby boomer. There's not a whole lot of I shouldn't say kids, but people under the age of like 40 or 50 who actually own a home outright. And if they do, I would love to meet with them and shake their hand. So I just love the mentality here of like giving up what you've worked your life for to buy Bitcoin that's essentially going to be for your family, and making that big sacrifice of selling your home, renting instead, just so that your family can live better in the future. Like that's such an admirable quality, I think, from whoever commented. The commenter was growing with fungi. So I just want to say that, like, very, very impressive. You're willing to sell your house that you worked for how many years, just so your family could have a better future. And I think that there would be a lot of baby boomers out there who kind of have that same mentality. They just don't really know that Bitcoin is the answer to that in terms of setting their family up for the long term. But what I would say is there's actually a company now. There's going to be more companies that come out that are going to actually offer you a loan to buy Bitcoin and to essentially refinance your mortgage. And so there's already a company in the US that exists that does this right now. But essentially what they do is they would look at your house. They would put a valuation on it. Let's say it's $500,000. You own 0 on there right now. I'm still talking about this comment here from Growing with Fungi. So currently you don't have a mortgage on there, essentially, right? If you own it outright. So if your house is worth $500,000, what this company would do is they would take the value of that. They would give you a new mortgage for it, essentially a loan for $500,000. They basically tell you to put 5-10% of it into like fixing it up. And I think they just do that so the wife is a little bit more on board with it, I guess, because maybe she gets a new kitchen, maybe a new bathroom. But a part of the proceeds there from the $500,000 new mortgage goes towards fixing it up, to renovations. The other 90% of it is going to Bitcoin. So let's just use this same example. $500,000, you put about 50,000 into renos. Maybe you get a new kitchen. Maybe you redo, maybe you make a man cave in the basement. Who knows? Anything you want to do. There's got to be something around your house that needs repairs or to be modernized. So you take 50,000, you put it into your house. You take the other 450,000 and you buy Bitcoin with it. So you could get about 4.5 Bitcoin today for that. And so the reason why this company is doing that, there's a couple different stipulations on it. One, I think you have to hold the Bitcoin for at least 4 years, which makes a ton of sense. The term itself is about 10 years. If you want to pay out the full thing, you can repay it anytime. So like what could play out there? And I love this idea. I actually want to start something like this in Canada myself because it's brilliant. It's such a brilliant strategy because if you think about it, if growing with fungi went to get this mortgage, they bought 4.5 Bitcoin, and now they have to start making a mortgage payment. So essentially what they could do is they could just take a small portion of their Bitcoin, they could sell it every month and buy or pay their mortgage. That's one option. The other one would just be, put your pension, put whatever you have money you have coming in and pay off your mortgage. So now you still own your house, plus you own 4.5 Bitcoin. And from the bank's perspective, if you stop making your mortgage payments on your new mortgage, they can just sell some of the Bitcoin. They would have a key to it, obviously, and it wouldn't be unlocked until the mortgage is done. But if you miss a loan payment, they could just sell some of your Bitcoin. And again, think about the bank's perspective here. Using Bitcoin as collateral there, they don't have to value it every time. They don't have to find a buyer for it. They don't have to involve lawyers. They don't have to involve real estate agents. They don't have to do any of that. They can just take some of the Bitcoin and sell it in 2 minutes and make your loan payment for the month. So it just makes so much sense from everybody's perspective there. So at the end of this, after 10 years, you still have your house that you own outright. Plus, you have 4.5 Bitcoin, less any that you had to sell to pay your mortgage payments. But like the idea there would be like, so you got 4.5 Bitcoin. Let's say the price of Bitcoin over this next cycle gets up to, I don't know, normal cycle would be $1 million Bitcoin. So now you take half a Bitcoin, you sell it or keep it. I mean, if you're here for, if you understand what's going on here, but you could sell it and you could pay off your mortgage in full, plus still have 4 Bitcoin. I'm having deja vu right now. Maybe I've talked about this before, but it's still, doesn't that just make so much sense? And so that's available right now in the US. I forget what the company's called, but it's already available. And once banks are able to start custodying Bitcoin, which they are now, because of, I think it was SAB 121, something got repealed. So banks can actually hold Bitcoin. And so this is available from one company today, but in a couple of years from now, every bank in the world is going to be offering something similar to this, I think. Just because it makes so much sense. Again, from everybody's perspective here, there's no one losing in this deal. What's going on? Huh? We're busy here, man.